Anyone other than the applicant or the representative wishing to speak must register and submit a registration slip to the zoning administrator at this time. Following the hearing, we will conduct our monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the hearing. The applicant and the town board will be sent a copy of tonight's decisions. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of a decision can sign the sheet on the table by the north doors. Those of you wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of these proceedings may call the county zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedure will be as follows. After each application is read, the applicant, their agent, representative will be asked to present their application, followed by any questions, comments from the committee. Then all correspondence will be read. Then others in favor will have a chance to speak. Anyone objecting then will have a chance to speak. I will then ask for a summary of the committee's field observations and staff comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a chance for a short rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone, state their name, and direct their comments to the committee. I ask that all testimony be kept brief, no more than 5 minutes, and to the point. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located relative to the subject's property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and the recording will become part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous or prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. This committee has looked at all the properties and recorded will reflect these observations. Any person affected by the administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from tonight to file a decision or an appeal with the county. Such appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustments. Information and applications are available from the zoning office. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of the 10-day period. I will now introduce the committee. To my far left is Rusowski, our Corp Counsel, Joe Piaski, Larry Crawford, Fred Gallerup, Bob Wadle, Terry Dopp-Pockstead, Zoning Administrator. My name is Mark Kirshner. First application tonight that we will hear is a conditional use. Michael and Mary Hester, representing 3228 Piney Woods LLC, Sun City West, AZ, having made application for a conditional use in accordance with sections 58-236, paragraph 18, and 58-454, paragraph 31 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to store a 2004 Holiday Rambler Endeavor 40-foot motorhome in the AG General Agricultural Zone. Location, an approximate 14.65 acre parcel of land known as Lot 2 of Certified Survey Map number 1770, being part of the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter, Section 28, Town 19 North, Range 12 East, Town of Leon, fire number N3228, County Road E. Is the applicant present? Yes. Would you come forward, please? You can come up too. Okay, that's okay. And you can sit there.
She's shy. As noticed Monday morning.
Yeah. Mike, is there anything that you could tell the committee before they have some questions to ask you?
Well, I believe I've said everything in my narrative that I gave you. We just want to be able to stay on our land up here when we come up here and have a place for our motorhome. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we're kind of out of luck as to where we can go, unless we have to go to a campground and pay extra money. Mm-hmm. Basically, that's it.
Okay.
Do you have any questions of me since you saw it?
Yeah, we have a few questions that we need to ask you. Committee questions, please.
Yeah, is the trailer licensed in?
It's licensed in Montana under our LLC, and it's paid for 2011, and it's done in May before I leave Arizona. I make sure I contact the attorney and get everything done so I'm good on the road.
Will the trailer be at least 100 feet from the lot lines?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Has there been any recent survey of your land?
Not since we bought it that I'm aware of.
Pardon me, when did you buy it? Do you know how long ago you've had it?
6 years ago?
Okay.
5 or 6 years ago.
Thank you.
You're sure of the lot lines?
There's total of 41 acres that we have
Okay,
with all the parcels. And I know the back end borders on the DNR land that's back there.
are you sure you're sure of all the lot lines then?
As sure as I can be when I bought the property. And from the plot plan that we had.
Will the unit be at least 100 feet from the boundaries of this parcel?
Oh, yes.
Will there be running water?
Yes.
What type of sanitation facilities are planned in addition to those found in the unit?
Well, what we originally started out to do was to have a septic system put in for a future home, and we would attach that for the time being to a temporary to the motorhome so we could dump in there. That's how this whole thing got started. Right now, we have Washera Septic come out and pump us out as needed.
Are there any other buildings or structures planned that you plan on?
Just the house. That's kind of in the foreseeable future, if I'm around that long yet.
What will happen to the other unit that currently is on the property?
That unit's going to be for sale.
You will use the existing driveway?
Yes. The motorhome does fit through there.
Is this property in managed forest law?
I don't understand that question. Don't know what that means.
Is your property enrolled in a DNR program called the Managed Forest Law?
Not that I'm aware of.
Probably not, then.
Thank you. Probably not, to answer your question.
Okay, thank you. What is the duration of your stay in a typical year?
We usually get up here early to mid-June, and we leave probably weekend after Labor Day or week after Labor Day. This year, we're leaving a little early. We're leaving the 15th of August.
That's all the questions I have.
Any other committee questions? Bob or Fred or Joe? Okay.
I have one more. So you're still planning on putting in a septic system? Is that the plan?
Depends on if I can
But
stay there.
If you're approved, then you would
That's
put a septic system.
That's something that we're discussing, and once we decide where the septic will go and then where the house will go, yes, we would like to do that. But I don't have any problem being pumped out every 3 to 4 weeks either.
And then you do have the porta potty there, too.
We do have a porta potty on the property,
Okay.
and we pump that out as needed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Correspondence?
We have no correspondence.
Anyone in favor or to object?
No one registered.
Pardon me.
I contacted Mr. Sorensen from the town of Leon, and he said that he would put in a note that he was not opposed to this at all. Did you get anything like that?
No, we didn't.
Okay, I will have to call him then. Thank you.
Okay,
I have been in touch with him today.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, staff comments?
For the record, the committee has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the other pertinent data for this and all the other applications that they're considering tonight. And they need to get some of the questions re-asked to get them on the record. I know you think we're being redundant, but part of it is this is the public hearing, and this is where we need to get the questions answered in the public venue. I'd like to explain a little bit about conditional use permits. All defined zones have uses that are just permitted outright. Building a home would be permitted in this zone. Then there's also uses that are listed that are permitted provided certain conditions are met. Thus, they're called a conditional use. And that's what we're looking at here, a use that may be permitted provided that certain parameters can be complied with, and those are set to keep the use in keeping with the surrounding uses in the area. When the committee visited the property, they noted the motorhome is already there. There was an additional travel trailer present as well. A porta potty was noted, and the motorhome unit is well hidden and will not be visible from the public road. And that's it.
Okay. Is there anything else the applicant would like to add to?
Right now, Either trailer or anything we have on the property is not visible from the road because, as you saw when you drive in approximately 100 feet, maybe 50, 60 yards, and you turn right and go through the woods to get back to where we are. So nothing is visible from anywhere.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Could I ask, Terry, is there any provision that has to be made for the removal of that trailer that they're going to be selling?
Yeah, they're only permitted to have one unit, so it's, you know, they should be getting rid of it. If the committee feels it should be a condition and puts a
Okay.
time limit on it,
Okay.
that would be something that they should do.
Okay. The next application that we will hear was the application that was tabled from last month. But before I read off the location and everything, I'd like to read this first. The next application is one that was originally heard at the June public hearing. However, the committee wanted additional information before making a decision, so the application was tabled until tonight's meeting, allowing the applicant a chance to supply the information. At this time, the committee will hear testimony from anyone that has information relative to those items that were indicated by the committee. Those include input from users of the services proposed to be provided from the tower on the need for such services and the current quality of service they may have for existing antennas. Coverage comparisons between the location and other existing and proposed locations, and information on other sites that will provide the same level of service at this site, whether those sites are available. This meeting will be conducted in the same manner as the previous application. The committee has viewed and video recorded the previous public applications as well as revisited the site. They have also read all the correspondence and reviewed the other information that was submitted. Please remember to keep your comments brief and relative to those items the committee designated when the application was tabled. Anyone other than the applicant or the representative wishing to speak at this portion of the hearing must have registered. Anyone who has not should do so immediately and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator to my right. Tabled from the June 16th, 2011 public hearing, Bug Tussle Wireless, LLC, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Robert and Sherry Gates, landowners, have made application for a conditional use in accordance with sections 58-236, paragraph B, paragraph 20, and 58-454, paragraph 33 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to place a 300-foot guided communications tower in the AG General Agricultural Zone. Testimony relative to the additional information requested by the Waushara County Planning and Zoning Committee shall be heard. Location, a parcel of land being part of the westerly 33.0 acres of the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter, section 18, town 19 north, range 13 east, town of Poisippi, Bighorn Drive. Would the applicant please come forward?
Hi, my name's Ray Buildings. I'm with Bug Tussle.
Would the other two fellows state their name also for the record right now?
Michael Long.
Okay.
Kevin Kluge.
Spelling, please.
K-L-U-G-E.
Ray Buildings, and it's B-I-L-D-I-N-G-S.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I guess the kind of, the reason it's got tabled is we need to provide more information. And what we did, Kevin, if you got some maps in regards to, we wanted to show some outlines of what towers were existing on in that area, and some of the other towers that, what we're saying is not available to us to co-locate on. So I guess.
I don't have a copy for everyone, but if you guys can share.
I have three of them with that one.
You and I can share.
What I've done with this map that you're going to look at is I've gone to the FCC's website, and I did a 10-mile radius around the current Poisippi site, identified on the map as U.S. Cellular Poisippi. That's the tower that we're currently co-located on.
All the red markings are towers that we are currently have our equipment on.
As Ray said, the red indicates where we are currently co-located. The blue one is the location of the property that we're discussing today, and the yellow ones are the other towers that are in the area that are on the FCC website. What they do is they post every single tower that is in excess of 200 feet or registered with the FCC. Any tower over 200 feet is required to be lit. There are some shorter towers that are also lit depending upon the location, such as the one that is located right at the intersection of 49 and 21. That's a 180-foot tower that is lit, but it's in a location that they had to paint the structure orange and white and light it, even though it's not that tall. So what we have done is our goal, we have two primary goals and our reason for wanting to move to a new tower location. Number one, we're very low on the U.S. Cellular Poisippi site. We're at 235 feet. Our goal is to continue to provide coverage to the community of Poisippi, but also provide coverage to Lake Poygan area. The western edge of Lake Poygan is not covered from the U.S. Cellular Poisippi site. So in the other area is the intersection of Highway 49 and 21. We have a coverage gap coming from that low location. So our goal is to move about 1.5 miles south of the U.S. Cellular Poisippi tower and put up a 300-foot guide tower to provide coverage to the western edge of Lake Poygan, as well as cover the intersection of 49 and 21. Additionally, in the last meeting that when it got tabled, I prepared another document. The question was asked, have you looked at other areas? We have, in reality, we've done 4 different locations in looking for the one that we're applying for today. And those 4 either did not provide as good a coverage, depending upon the AMSL or the height above sea level, and that's why we settled on the one location that did work very well to fix both of the problems that we did have. I've identified where those locations were. Some of the properties were very close in coverage, like the woman that testified last time. Her property was almost identical to the location that we have chosen, but it was much more difficult to get access into that site. So that's why we settled on this one.
And the reason that the proposed Poisippi site is chosen is obviously you guys know there's 2 ridges that are on each side of, is the north side and south side of the village itself. And to go any farther south, there's just not the elevation that, that would help our coverage. So that's why the proposed site has been picked. And it just comes down to it's the coverage that Kevin had mentioned again, and just, we want to be able to hand off to, if you look at the red tower, the SBA Berlin Tower, we want that handoff, and our drawings still think that by moving down that 1.5 miles from the U.S. Cellular Poisippi site, we can still connect with our TV6 Saxville site north.
And the TV6 Fremont site to the north.
And that's very critical for the whole network process, is that these towers need to hand off to each other. And
for seamless coverage.
again, part of it is just that's really the last ridge there before elevation-wise, grade-wise, it really flattens out going south on 49.
Okay. Anything else that you guys want to add?
No, I guess if any
Okay. Committee has some questions for you. Fred?
Sure, I have a few questions. Do you have evidence or testimony depicting problems with wireless coverage in this area?
Yes, I do.
I think that was part of the mapping we provided.
Provided at the previous meeting.
Okay. And how will this proposed tower location address these problems? And that's what you just talked about?
Correct. It provides coverage to those problem spots.
Okay. Please provide evidence that the coverage of the entire area is improved from this location as opposed to existing towers that are north of the village of Poisippi.
I believe that also was included last time. Do you want other copies? I've brought another copy if you'd like it.
Those are the coverage maps?
Yes, sir.
Okay? We're okay with that, Terry? Well, and have you looked at other sites of the area?
Many. Yes.
Sounds like that from this.
I'm not the site acquisition guy. Mr. Buildings is the site acquisition guy, but anytime that he finds a location, he sends me the coordinates, and I'm the engineer. I do predicted coverage using a planning tool to see what we expect, and it's based on tree height, terrain, riverbeds, and so on, and that's all calculated in so we can see if it's an acceptable site. Normally, you go through several different locations before you find one that really does work.
Sure. And how did the quality of service to all recipients of wireless services from other sites compare to this location?
I'd like to start with the one all the way at the bottom, the Element Auroraville one, which you see right at the intersection of 49 and 21. That would only fix one problem, and it would not cover Poisippi. So we would still need to keep our site at Poisippi plus have this other location at the intersection of 21 and 49. It's a very low tower, and it does not fix the problem over by Lake Poygan. So we would need maybe 2 more sites if we would use that tower and stay on the U.S. Cellular Poisippi.
And again, it's all about the handoffs from tower to tower.
Yeah. And that was the tower that was mentioned that is, 185 feet?
Yes.
Correct.
And so it does not have the range that you would get with a higher.
Looking at the
correct.
tower, we would only probably be able to go at 160, 170 maybe of that height, and that's a huge.
Yeah.
That's right in the municipal grounds of Auroraville, I
Yeah,
believe.
by the,
Okay.
Collection site.
And were you able to secure permission from any other landowners in the area for placement of a tower such as this?
you know, when Kevin kind of gives me my marching orders in regards to where, you know, we target an area where we want to be. Obviously, I'm looking for elevation. I'm looking for, you know, access. I'm looking for a landowner, and sometimes it comes down to the landowner that's home that day. I'm knocking on doors. And in this case, it was Robert and Sherry Gates, and it took us about a month to kind of work through with them. We made sure our coverage needs were met, and you know, the parcel or the spot that they had picked the tower, there was an existing driveway there or a field entry, you know, and the site worked elevation-wise. So.
Okay, those are the questions that I have.
Any other committee questions? Joe or Larry? Bob? Okay, thank you, fellas. Correspondence?
We received one letter that was virtually a repeat of a letter that we had last month, except for one paragraph. So I'm going to read the one paragraph that was different. And that's from Gary H. Decker from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, but he also notes an address of N3744 County Road SS. I am very concerned about a drop in real estate value. I spoke with a real estate appraiser who does condemnation work in this area of cell towers. He told me in his experience that I should expect a 12% drop. Is this fair? And that was it for correspondence.
Okay. Anyone in favor to speak?
Yes, we have one person.
Dave Peterson. Speak in favor.
Good evening. Dave Peterson, N4090 17th Drive, here representing Emergency Management and the Sheriff's Department at 430 East Division Street, Wautoma, Wisconsin. I provided you with some documentation prior to tonight's meeting, and I would just like to go through that with you a little bit. I've numbered the the documents along the right-hand margin. On the first page, photo number 1 is a picture depicting the towers that are currently located in Poisippi, and this photo is taken from about the highway shop entrance on Highway 49. If you get too much closer than that, the towers disappear in the trees and you don't see them. It's a little bit hard to see on the photo number 1, but so photo number 2, with my limited knowledge of how to do this, zoom in. I zoomed in on that photo, and photo number 2 shows a little closer view. The aforementioned U.S. Cellular tower that they're not high enough on is the tower immediately on the left. The one that the Waushare County Emergency Management and Fire Ambulance Services on is the tower on the far right that's just barely visible. So also for us, as you can see from those pictures, our tower is the one we're on is pretty short. We do not own that tower. We're just using it now, and I think we're probably the only one that is using it because of its lack of height. Accessibility is important to us too, as when emergency communications go down, I don't have the luxury of fixing it tomorrow. It's got to be fixed immediately. And so pictures 3, 4, and 5 depict the access that we have to that tower. And as you can see, it is not well maintained by the owner of the tower. And it would be inaccessible with anything but a very large wheeled 4-wheel drive truck or an ATV. What doesn't show up on there, because I walked it, is it's significantly steep. And if you look at the road, is pretty well washed away. When you do get to the tower, which isn't at the top of the hill, which is a problem, the site has not been maintained by the owner. Picture number 6, if you look right in the middle, the vines that are growing there are actually growing on one of the guide wires for that tower. Picture number 7 shows the structure there. It is fenced in, but it's getting pretty well grown up with brush. Picture number 8 shows the height of the tower, and another problem that we have or potentially could have with that tower is we have one guide wire that you can see is covered with vines. The other 2 guide wires disappear into the trees. If we have a storm and the trees go down, that could cause a problem for the tower still standing. Pictures 9, 10, and 11, or picture 9 is again the picture of the compound from the opposite direction, and then 10 and 11 is just our equipment that's in the tower. I guess I'd like then to skip to photo 19, which is the access route to the U.S. Cellular Tower and the other tower that's on top of that hill, which we can get access to our tower, although we don't have permission, we don't have an easement, but we can get there, and then we just have, it's a short walk down the hill through the woods to get to the tower. It's about 3/4 of a mile off of Highway 49. You go through, and picture 19 is Mr. Ingles' farmyard. You go up behind the picture 20 as you go behind the barn and take another right, and picture 21 you continue up the hill. Picture 22 and 23 you're now approaching the tower. 24 you're getting into the woods, and then you have the same issue once you get into the woods there. There's pictures 25, 26, 27 are photos of the trail through the woods. Again, this is difficult. This is a little bit better in good weather. It'd be pretty difficult in wintertime to get up there. And picture 28, 29, and 30 are just the other 2 towers that are currently on top of the hill. Access is a real issue with that. We don't own that tower. The tower is not designed to go any higher, even if we did own it. So go back to picture 12, 13, and 14 are pictures that I took from the intersection of Bighorn and 49. Picture 12 shows looking in a northwesterly direction, the Gates Farm. Picture 13 just kind of pans a little bit to the left, and picture 14 kind of pans a little bit farther to the left, just to kind of show the area there. Then I drove west on Bighorn Drive and to the kind of the top of the hill, and if you were all there, you know what I'm talking about. And then I took 4 pictures. Picture 15 is looking back to the east. The farm on the left is the Gates Farm. Picture 16 is to the north, a field and into the woods there. Picture 19, or picture 17, I'm sorry. Picture 17 is directly to the west. The structure that you see in the background is the solid waste transfer site. And then picture 18 is to the south, and the proposed site of this tower would be on the left portion of that photo. It's kind of nestled in with woods on 2 sides, and then that brushy area that you see in the picture would be right in front of the tower. So even most of the compound would be hidden from sight from that location. It's again, it's a good location for us because we're going to gain some height. We've been working with Bug Tussle on our whole radio project, and I guess if you look at number 31, which shows our coverage areas, we're currently operating on narrowband radio frequencies, and that has, or I'm sorry, wideband frequency, and the end of next year we must go to narrowbanding. The document marked number 31 shows the 3 current tower locations that we have that we're operating on with our wideband radio, and this is a coverage map that depicts coverage for a pager worn on a belt for a firefighter or an EMT, which is the most difficult coverage problem we have. And we have no full-time fire departments. They're all volunteers. They all rely on that pager, so it's a very important piece of equipment, especially if it's my house or yours that's burning. So anyway, with the coverage area on this map, the darker areas is where we would have good coverage currently, and then the white areas is where we have coverage problems. This is going to be compounded when we have to switch to narrowbanding. And if you read in the paper, it's now in the forefront of Winnebago County is finally getting on the ball. So what we have done in number 32 is still utilizing the coverage for the pager and considering having 6 towers, because narrowbanding is going to reduce our coverage area off each tower, so we have to have more towers. So this is the 3 current towers that we have, plus the 3 towers that we want to co-locate with Bug Tussle, giving us a total of equipment in 6 different areas in the county. As you can see, though, even though the range of our system is going to be less, the coverage is much better. We still have a few holes in the coverage, but as you can see, the east end of the county is very well covered with the tower on the site that Bug Tussle is proposing. Document number 33 is an aerial view of that area where they proposed to build the tower. And if you use one of those photos that I had taken, I guess from the road, you can maybe kind of see this, but it shows the existing driveway into the field. It shows that the tower, base of the tower, is going to be located right backed up to that woods. I believe they're actually going to cut out some of the woods there for 2 of the guide wires will go into that area. The other guide wire will go directly to the north, and it'll be right about where that brushy area in the middle of that field is. I'm thinking there must be rocks or something in there that they didn't farm that. It's going to be fenced. It's going to be a lot more accessible for us. It's a kind of a gradual grade up instead of a steep hill. There shouldn't be any problem with erosion on the road. Number 34 again shows the area where the tower is going to go, and it takes out all the farm fields there. And I guess for our standpoint, in emergency management, which includes law enforcement, ambulance service, fire service, is that this one tower is but a small piece of the entire project that we're trying to accomplish here. And that is to provide better communications to everybody in the county and everybody who needs emergency services. Currently, with our system the way it is, if an officer is east or west, or he has got to figure out just which tower does he think he's closest to, taking into consideration the elevation, lay of the land, and whatever, and then manually switch his radio to that tower, which is okay if you're not under a lot of stress. If there's an emergency going on, it's one less thing we don't want them to have to think about. The new system that, when it is designed with all 6 of these towers working together, the system will decide which tower that it needs to use. And somebody back here who's an engineer can probably explain it better than I, but by doing that and with the current technology, it eliminates all the echoing, if you will. They're all timed right. And so the officer doesn't have to decide, am I closer to the Watoma Tower, or am I closer to the Saxville Tower, and then manually turn his radio. It's quite a nice system, we believe. There's not a lot of, we're very fortunate in that at the time that we bid this out with the company, is they're just rolling out the latest technology. And so we'll be hopefully building something that will last a long time. One of the other difficulties that we've had with being on different people's towers, we're on the Norcom Tower, which was probably one of the first ones built in Waushara County, is knowing who owns the tower, who do we call to get extra space, who do we argue with about the rent, and a lot of other things. And these companies seem to change hands quite frequently. We believe that by partnering and co-locating with Bug Tussle, we have resolved that problem, because even if Bug Tussle was to sell, the new owner is going to want to do business with us and keep us in the loop, because they're going to be on 3 of our towers and we will be on 3 of their towers. So it behooves us to keep each other informed. If Waushara County all of a sudden joins with Green Lake County and somebody down there is running the county, I guess Bug Tussle will know about that. If Bug Tussle sells out to some other company, we'll know about that because we are partnered together. They only have to deal with one entity for this system, and we only have to deal with one. They've been very good to work with, and the other nice part about it is, seeing many of you were talking budgets last night. You can build towers and you can borrow money or whatever, use some extra funds you have to build towers, but you always have to maintain that towers, and there's always maintenance fees. We will still have some of that maintenance fee, but we're not going to have any rental fee, because we're going to let Bug Tussle be on our 3 towers and they're going to let us be on theirs, and therefore I won't have to build something in the budget every year to pay for that rent. If their rent goes up, my rent goes up, and it all balances out to 0. This is a project that a lot of people at the county level, they established a committee, a radio study committee, which included highway, fire, ambulance people, We looked at a lot of different options, and we believe, I think the consensus of the committee was that this was the best option for today. This was the best option to get us up to speed before the end of 2012, and this was the best option for us out into the future. So, thank you.
Thank you, David. Anyone else in favor?
No one else in favor.
Anyone object?
Yep, we have two.
Jackie Silva?
They're all the same, but I thought maybe if you wanted to read along to pass them out.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Hi, I'm Jackie Silva. I live on the neighboring property owner along with my sister and brother-in-law right next to Robert Gates' property.
Go ahead.
On July 15th, 2011, to the Washera County Zoning Committee, we as neighboring property owners are adamantly opposed to the placement of the proposed 300-foot communication tower on the Robert Gates property. We unanimously feel that the placement of this tower in this location would result in a negative aesthetic impact to the surrounding area, as well as not preserve the existing character and area. Property value would decline, which would not be good for the town or the county, as we directly affect property taxes and thus income. We are justifiably concerned with the construction of the tower, reducing the value of our homes and properties. Numerous studies throughout the county have shown that properties in close proximity to cell towers lost their value up to 10%. A U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit Court upheld a denial of a cell tower application based on testimony that the tower would reduce the value of properties which were in close proximity to the tower. The 11th Circuit goes on to say the aesthetics of objections coupled with the adverse impact on property values or safety concern can constitute substantial evidence. Congress gave you, the local government, zoning authority over construction, placement, and modification of these communication towers. Washera County has always prided itself with strategic residential planning and removal of eyesores from the beautiful landscape. Washera County is a diamond of environmental beauty. Its unique geographic is the beautiful bluffs, clear streams, the Pine River, bountiful, diverse wooded areas, the spring-fed lakes collectively attract urbanites from all over Wisconsin and Illinois to enjoy this unspoiled natural area. The bluff, as locals refer to the largest hill in the area, has been unaltered for over 60 years. It is in the same unmarred hill, a landmark for all this time, protected by its owners within the guidance of the town of Boisipi and Washera County. The hill is home to deer, endangered fishers, badgers, turkeys, and a confirmed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the federally endangered Conard blue butterfly, as well as numerous other Wisconsin wildlife species. State Highway 49 allows travelers to pass by the bluff on their way through Wisconsin or through Washera County and the town of Boisipi. An average man from over 25 miles away will see a 300-foot tower at this location. Knowing that an oak tree grows up to 60 foot and a red pine up to 80 feet is impossible to hide a tower that is equivalent of a 30-story building, even if it is located well off the public road. Communication towers are necessary evil in today's desire for wireless technology. We believe there are many other options out there also to the placement of this tower. In an article published by Insight Magazine, September 2009, Mr. Steve Schneider, President and CEO of Bug Tussle, was quoted as saying, "We do erect towers," he says, "but I am not one to clutter landscape." where there are existing structures that can be utilized, it is more cost-effective for us and more aesthetically pleasing for the general public to use rooftops, grain elevators, water tanks, silos, and other structures that can provide enough height to set signals into hard-to-get spots. There are over 35 square miles in the town of Koisipi and over 625 square miles in Waushara County. With all that space, we do believe there is an alternative location for this communication tower. The most beneficial would be consider placing it in a portion of the 761 acres of county-owned property, as many monetary gains would then belong to the county. Waushara County, in their comprehensive plan, had the insight to develop a vision to guide the future development of the county. The Waushara County Comprehensive Plan states the objective to preserve unique or unusual geological features, the bluff, with recommendation to encourage the preservation and enhancement of county's natural features and protect them from encroachment by all man development. It is also states the objective to protect natural resources and preserve aesthetic and recreational values. These are not mere generalized concerns regarding aesthetics, but actual substantial evidence contained in the written record of the Waushara County Comprehensive Plan. And then we have Denise Kirschwell, Randy Kirschwell, Walter Waltz, Harry Waltz, Alex Waltz, Judy Sherlin, Tricia L. Scott, Shane Scott, Pauline J. Polk, Bruce A. Nelson, myself, Harlan Hansen, and Paula Waltz Hansen, and their addresses and phone numbers. So, and then to add, we were just wondering why they aren't maintaining the road through the old tower. If they don't own the old tower right now, they won't own this new tower either. And then they add on to the existing towers that they now own. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next, Harlan E. Hansen.
Harlan E. Hansen. I own the property with Jackie and my wife Paula, east of the Gates property. It adjoins the same property. Basically, she said everything pretty much what I was going to say, but that tower that's there's already 3 towers in Koisipi already. Why do we need another spot with towers? Why not just take that tower and, if not be able to buy that tower, take it down and install their 300-foot tower? You take a tree, like she said, 80 feet tall, the tower is going to stick up 220 feet above the trees. That's ugly. I'm desperately opposed of it, so that's about all I've got to say. All the landowners around do not agree. They think that the tower should not be there. So I don't know of any other landowner. Only Bobby Gates is the only one that says he wants it, and he's the only one to benefit with money, and that's the whole thing.
Okay, thank you, Harlan. Okay, anybody else?
No one else registered?
Okay, anyone with information only?
Nope.
Staff comments, please.
For the record, the committee has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the data that's been submitted both last month and this month. And then they did revisit the property, and the ones that were not at the public hearing did view the public hearing tape, so they're aware of all the testimony that took place last month. I do want to say a few things, and I'm going to talk about conditional use permits again. Most are rather innocent applications like the one we heard before. You know, the effects of a travel trailer are probably not going to be felt beyond the confines of your property, or at least not very much. But there are others that are listed in the ag zone that certainly do have more far-reaching effects. And these would include public buildings like a school. Other things listed are cheese factories, grain elevators, and cemeteries. You know, and you can all think of both good and more negative effects that those kinds of conditional use applications would have, and that they would have some impact on the surrounding property owners. I also want to point out some things that are listed in the Waushara County Zoning Code. There's a purpose and intent statement that states in part that the purpose of the zoning code as well as the Planning and Zoning Committee is, and I'm going to quote, to promote and protect public health, safety, comfort, convenience, prosperity, aesthetics, and other aspects of general welfare. And then it goes on to say they also are to guide the proper distribution and location of various land uses. So while this is like the previous conditional use application on the surface, now the committee is going to need to consider the impact of this application on public health, safety, and welfare, and they will have to weigh those impacts against the impacts that this application will surely have on the nearby property owners. In addition, if they determine that a tower is necessary to promote the values that were previously noted, it is their duty to determine where that land use should be located to best address all of the concerns. Of course, land availability and coverage location are all a part of that equation, and they've been listening to testimony about that tonight. I think it is, again, important to note that most conditional use applications do not have such far-reaching impacts, but in this case, all aspects of the tower, all positive and negative impacts must be considered, as the tower will obviously affect both the immediate neighborhood, but also Waushara County in its entirety. In addition, the committee is obligated to place conditions on any decision that they make, and those would include providing as much protection as possible to those involved, including surrounding property owners, should they consider an approval. And please keep in mind that surrounding properties contain residences as well as agricultural operations, and along with the waste collection site. Likewise, they must consider all the impacts their decision would have should they consider a denial, and then give sound reasons for that decision as well. This is not an easy job. I was thinking that if you're ever elected to county board, the last committee you might want to be appointed to is this one in cases like this. I mean, you have to think about all the things that they have to think about. But it's a decision that they are charged with making, and they do have to undertake this task and make that decision tonight after taking all the facts and testimony provided into consideration. So that's it for my comments.
Any rebuttal, anything that you guys would like to add?
Couple things. What I just want to, I think when the public notice was posted on the property or on the tower location, I did contact, or Jackie did contact Steve Schneider, our CEO of our Bug Tussle Wireless, and he had forwarded me her number to discuss. And part of the conversation we had was that she was surprised that we were looking at that property for the fact that she felt her property was a better fit for that tower. Now, that was just a very loose conversation on the phone. And what I did is I went back and did check into her property and see with Kevin to see how that RF coverage was. And what came out of it was that there was not much difference in altitude and the cost of putting the tower on her site versus the Gates property. There was a difference. And at the same time, we had already kind of reached an agreement, a lease agreement with the Gates on that site. I understand it. Not everybody wants a tower in their backyard. And the comment I've made at other public hearings is that, we can build one 300 or we can build several 200 or so towers to fill that spot. And, it just, one tower seems to be better than several. And I think we've kind of shown some mapping, and, I think we've exhausted kind of the existing sites there.
But
Bug Tussle is a wireless communications company. We operate in 30 counties in Wisconsin. And throughout our network, we have over 230 tower sites, or antenna sites. And of those 230 antenna sites, we've only had, to establish coverage, we've only had to build 15 towers. The other 215 are antenna that we've attached to existing structures. Tower building is an expensive endeavor. We only do it when we absolutely have to. We prefer to find an existing structure. In fact, it's going to cost us a great deal of money to come off this existing structure we're on now to the north to relocate and build a tower further to the south. So we, these are well deliberated decisions that we make, and there was some, I guess, some suggestion that we build lots of towers. We've only built 15 towers in an entire network of 230 antenna sites. The rest are all on either existing towers or existing rooftops, existing other structures. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our, Ruth, did you have anything that you? No. Okay. All right, that concludes our public hearing. We will now conduct the remainder of our business meeting. Roll call showing that all members are present. Have an agenda in front of you. Need a motion to approve it?
Motion to approve.